Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic/non-classic. This is episode number 517 and Doubleshot number 425. Two trades, one from Boom Studios and the other one from DC. Though an old trade from DC, mind you. First up is a trade from Boom Studios. Saban's Power Rangers Aftershock. This, of course, is written by Ryan Parrott and artwork by Lucas Warnock. Yeah, this book takes place right after the events of the Power Rangers film that came out last year. Yeah, with them cleaning up the remains of the Putty Patrol. Yep, they clean up putties. Goldar reader reference. Apparently, there's some remains of Goldar still around. There's a couple twins who Billy's father knows their father, and apparently the police chief doesn't care for the Power Rangers at all. He thinks ever since they showed up, Angel Grove has become a war zone. It's not their fault Rita came there. It's just by sheer coincidence. That's just the way it is. And there's this this administrator who wants the power who wants to get another Power Rangers, and she gets a chance to meet him in here, and she thinks that she gets a good, she introduces herself, and she gets good because a bad introduction to them, with them being surrounded by guns. And Red Angel point out, yeah, how can you trust each other with guns pointed at us? Of course, they put it away, and of course, we're good. We didn't work for you, so we'll do our job as protect the planet. Yep. Not much else to say, but it's an overall really good story. I kind of wish that we had a sequel to Power Rangers, but the reason why there isn't one is because the film was put into a month that was crowded. You could have, I don't know. I mean, this film was released last year in March. I mean, you could have moved this film to April. I mean, the only film that was probably competing against in April was Fast and Furious 8. Yeah, that was by far the only film coming out that was only made for coming out. We could move there. But no, we had to put the same month as Logan, Kong of Skull Island, and Beauty and the Beast. 4 really big budget movies. Instead, this film did make back its budget. It got like halfway through breaking even, but it couldn't break it. I think it made like $146 million, which is actually still a pretty good moderate success. But I don't blame Saban for the failure. I blame Lionsgate for it, and a lot of people agree with me. It's Lionsgate's fault they put that film in that month in the first place. But the Power Rangers film was good. This overall is good as well. And it makes sense that the Boom Studios would publish this because they have the license to it, so why not? I give this a 9.5 out of 10. It's actually a really good book. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff they do in here makes perfect sense to do with the Aftermath. But obviously what they could do next, who knows? Who knows indeed. Next up is a DC trade. Like I said, it's an old one. It's Teen Titans Volume 2, The Culling. Yeah, this one contains Teen Titans Volume 4, issues 8 to 14 in DC Universe Business number 12. Excuse me. Scott Lobdell writes all the Teen Titans issues in here. There is one issue where, I think it's issue 9, where it is written by not only him, but Tom DeFalco. Yeah, Tom DeFalco. Fabian DeCisa writes the DC Universe Presents issue. Now, the first issue is a prelude to The Culling. The issue 9 is part 4. Issue 10 is a standalone issue dealing with the Aftermath. Then comes the DC Universe Presents number 12, which takes place between 10 and 11. And 11 to 14 is just the origin story of Cassie Sandmark. Whole thing with the armor and the character Diesel. Yeah, it's an okay origin story. It's not terrible per se, but I kind of prefer what Greg Pak did with her a lot better. Yeah, he gave her a much better origin story because she's related to Wonder Woman. You know how she's related to Wonder Woman? She's Wonder Woman's niece. That's how she's related to her. Now, the Culling issues are just okay. I don't hate the crossover. Oh, who does the artwork? It is several artists. Mostly it's Brett Booth doing the artwork. With Ija Guerrero, Ale Garza, Jorge Jimenez, who's the artist for Super Sons, Norm Rampant, and J.P. Meyer. Yeah, and who does the cover art? That's done by Brett Booth, Norm Ram, and Andrew Dahlhaus, who's one of the colorists on here. Now, of course, I should point this out, and a lot of people have this problem with New 52 trades. They decided, instead of skipping over the Culling stuff, they decided to put the Culling issues in here instead of, just skip over and go straight to the aftermath. I mean, that's what they do now. I mean, look, let's say the first day for Nightwing. They had the first 4 issues in there. They skip over the 2 issues that deal with Night of the Monster Men, because that's part of that story, and of course you had the follow-up right after that. The problem with New 52 trades, and I think a lot of people have this problem, is that they put one part of a story in here, and not the other 3 parts. So you're like, okay, you read the recap, okay, you have 1 part in here, that's it? Yeah, it's like you read it, and you may skip the text recap. I've heard they do this also for Superboy, and as far as I know, they do this for Legion Lost as well, because that's what the crossover did do. The way they marketed the trade cover for the Culling was actually kind of bad. Yeah, it was actually kind of bad, terrible marketing. Now, I gotta admit, the artwork in here, I do like Red Boo's artwork. It's actually pretty good in here. Yep. Also, Skitter. That's this woman here in the corner. That is Skitter. After the Culling, she disappears, never to be seen again until the end of this run. I'm not kidding. She's gone for a good 2 years, publication-wise, before she finally makes a return to comic books. And she's only there for 2 or 3 issues. And then she's never seen again. Yep. Of course, after this storyline wrapped up, right after these issues, Scott Lobdell left this book, and I think he was handing off to somebody else, but I think he was getting jealous over the fact this book was actually doing well without him as the writer. Now, the way this trade ends, and I love the way issue 14 ends, it ends with Tim Drake going off to the Yes and Family Business, and oh crap, there's this straw figure is smiling, and Cassie immediately knows who this is. She says, oh crap, Red Robin's been kidnapped by the Joker. Yeah, which leads into Death of the Family, which, by the way, the next trade that comes right after this one, that does collect the crossover with Red Hood and the Outlaws. And I think it does also collect the conclusion to Death of the Family, which, that's fine. I got personal problem with that. That's good, the fact they do that, to put the conclusion there. But in the case of this, if you're going to put these damn issues in trade, just, I don't know, put the other 3 parts in there. It make a lot more sense. If you read Superboy, which Superboy is part 2 of the story, you just read there and okay, you have 1 part, and that's it? No other parts? That's really stupid. Now, in the case of the current DC Rebirth stuff, and this is something they definitely did improve on, was the fact they have 1 trade that collects a crossover, and that's it. No other trades that collect just the parts of a crossover in 1 trade. Marvel does not make this mistake at all. As far as I know, they don't. In the case of DC, they made this mistake a lot. Not only with the Culling, but also Doomed, Final Days of Superman, Savage Dawn, and heck, they even did this with Forever Evil Blight. Yeah, they did pretty much the same thing with that as well, where they just put in parts of the crossover in the separate trades for each one of the series tie-in set, which was Justice League Dark, Constantine, Trinity of St. Pandora, and Trinity of St. Phantom Strange, which, by the way, Trinity of St. Phantom Strange introduced Raven. They actually referenced Trigon here, which that's the next arc that comes right after the Death of the Family. It comes after Death of the Family. But I don't have a problem with these issues in here. The origin of Wonder Girl is just an okay story, and I'm kind of glad they did not put in here the issue 0 of Teen Titans. I own it. I regret owning it. It is by far a bad issue. Yeah, they retcon Lonely Place and Dying. Yeah, they retcon that and have him be a workaholic and have it completely contradicting exactly what Red Robin's supposed to be. Thank God that James Tynion IV later undid that retcon and restored his classic origin story, which, in my honest opinion, even though that some people think it's a little bit nostalgia stuff, even though I didn't get into DC Comics until 8 years ago, I like the classic origin story better for Tim and Drake. not what Scott Lobdell came up with. Heck, if you read his origin story from Secret Origins, it's the same exact story, except he just took. It's basically reprinting that very story, except they take out like half the. They pretty much cut out like half the book, which is stupid. Yeah, DC Universe Presents issue is a pretty interesting issue where it's this whole issue focused on Kid Flash, and he's facing a bunch of lizard people. Yeah, but it does have potential for this one particular woman who could become a Teen Titan, but as far as I know, Scott Lobdell just didn't care to follow up on it. I don't think Lobdell is a terrible writer, per se. He's written good stuff in the past. As a matter of fact, his written in the Outlaw stuff is actually better than the first volume he ever did with it. Yeah, but for this, I don't hate what he did in here, like a lot of people did. I think some of the issues are okay. I think the Culling's an okay crossover. It's just that, well, not much. It's just basically a fight scene. That's basically what the crossover is. But in the case of the character Diesel, I think he's a weak villain. He sucks as a villain. Like, he takes Cassie's armor. Now, when it comes to post-Flashpoint origin story for Cassandra Sandmark, Greg Pak does a lot better job telling an origin story for Cassie Sandmark than Scott Lobdell does. But the issue that come right after the Culling, that's a much better issue. Just them on an island full of dinosaurs, which the island is shaped of a giant question mark. I am not kidding about that. And they also have Danny the Alley in here, even though it's technically it's Danny the Street, who apparently in his last act decided to return to Teen Titans from first to the island, and they transport to the alley. And also, their base operations is a penthouse. I am not kidding. Up until the Trigon arc, up until they fight Trigon, that is what their headquarters is. A penthouse. And then it's a yacht. And then it's nothing for several years. I like what Ben Burr is doing Teen Titans, being based out of Titan's Tower. It's better than based out of a frickin' yacht. Yeah. But I would say of all the issues, 14 and 10 are probably the best ones in here. Because 10 is it's a good breath of fresh air. 14 for that awesome ending for it. Okay? I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I don't hate the writing in here. I think the storytelling is okay. It's just that, well, my biggest criticism is putting one part of 4-part story in the trade. They should have just skipped over the Culling stuff and went straight to the Aftermath. That is my opinion on it. That's what they should have done. But I'm just one person. I'm sure a lot of people agree with me on that. But looking up DC Rebirth, fix that problem when it comes to their trades. Alright. So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. Which, starting for the next 5 episodes, it's all about the Clone Saga. Yep, I'm going to review the trades that collect the Clone Saga. Yeah. Actually, it's going to spread across over the course of 6 episodes. It's going to start with episode 518, and it's going to wrap up with episode 523. That's what I'm going to review for the next 6 episodes. The Clone Saga. All 11 trades. I don't think I reviewed the real Clone Saga. I probably need to get my hands on it. I probably need to check and see if I have reviewed that or not. And I'm also planning on reviewing the original Clone Saga. So, yeah. And I know that Linkara has reviewed like a good chunk of it on his show. But I want to review the trades, not the individual stories. I leave that to him. Yeah. Which I know this year he's celebrating his 10th anniversary. So, he might review the first 2 parts of Smoke and Mirrors. Yeah. But until I see you on my next episode, which starting next episode, like I said, the Clone Saga. I will talk about that. The second one. I will eventually do the original one as well, right? But I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.